look into my life and pop culture vibes. Welcome to Amani's Vibe. That's the space that I provide. Yeah, at Amani's Vibe. Love Island, USA, and writing stories my own way. That's my Amani's Vibe.
Well, hello everyone. It's Amani, the Amani in Amani's Vibe. And I just wanted to remind everybody that this month in Canada, it is Brain Injury Awareness Month, that I live with post-concussion syndrome. And so let me tell y'all that actually taking myself off camera has helped me immensely with my brain stuff. Remembering people's names and who they are, or trying to say the right name, has just always complex, because sometimes I'm staring at the notes and I'm like, who's Zach? Who's Zach? So those are things that I actually go through every day and even doing this. But doing these recaps, think pieces, or commentaries on Love Island USA, it has actually helped me immensely with my speech and my anxiety, especially about speaking or saying the wrong thing, because I really, especially when I go on camera, I just freestyle, I just talk, and then sometimes I'll look back and be like, what did I say? But yeah, that's something that I've had to get used to, and it was really challenging for me in 2024 and 2025. And I feel like in 2023, I can't remember what I did at the time, but I was really, I just had another concussion in March of 2023. So I have been just continuing to get my life back, but it takes a long time with this stuff, but I don't mind being the face of it or right now taking my face off of it, because it's helped me. But like I said, I love doing this stuff mainly because it has nothing to do with my real life, so it's not stressful. And that's why I'm able to do this. And now I'm able to take notes and then at least read and riff from my notes. Okay? All right. So that is my PSA for Brain Injury Awareness Month. Now let's get to the show. Love Island USA, Season 8, Episode 9. And remember that I give you a high-level overview, meaning I'm not going to go into all of the details. There are so many reviewers that they break everything down. There's psychiatrists, there's every type of person doing reviews. So there's so many different viewpoints. And actually, I will listen to a couple other people after I've done mine. And in this case, I listened to them before. I'd already done all my notes and everything. But from listening to someone else, it made me think of something that I hadn't thought of. So I'm going to throw that out to you guys, my subscribers, and I'm going to ask y'all what you think, okay? If I can remember it, I didn't write it down. All right, so episode 9 starts with Sincere apologizing to Melanie for his horn dog ways, and they hug it out. And then Melanie's in the confessional saying that she does like him, and then the shoot goes back to her saying, is he going to? She's asking if they're going to get a kiss, because they don't really kiss at the time. But she's like, but are you going to keep kissing Saul? Because she doesn't even know how many times he kissed Saul, aka Pink, like on the last episode. And it was a lot more than he said. Like if he told her twice, it was like maybe 4 times or so. And they were long. And then there was the caressing as well. Okay. Not cool. Not cool. Okay. Then we have Corbin talking to the resident therapist, Anaya, about Kenzie and how she's talking to Cowboy. And then he wants to explore. He wants to explore with Melanie and Kenzie. but he's not really like bowing down to her needs, and he's feeling like he really wanted to have this exploration with Melanie, but she like wouldn't give him a kiss, and he doesn't think it's fair, and yada yada yada. Then I just have another, this is another fashion note. Now I watched After Sun last night, and it's really interesting that Sean said he loves Bryce's fashion, the way that Bryce puts his clothes together, the way he puts his outfits together, and also the way that KC dresses. And it's true. Bryce's way that he dresses is very funky fresh, I call it. But I just want to talk about his footwear. And I'm still confused about his footwear, but that's it. I talked about it last night. You know, the white socks and the black dress shoes and the shorts and the boots, like he always has on boots and stuff. So I'm just convinced that he was somewhere cold doing a photo shoot before he made it to Love Island. So, and then I have, yeah, and then I said this before too, like, what is it about models? What is it about models? Because Nick also on Love Island season 7, he said like he didn't think he was going to be there long, so he didn't really take that many clothes. And it could be the same thing with Bryce. A lot of times they don't know when they're going to get the call. They're not sure if they're really going to be on the show. For some people, they have a bit of like warning, and some people they don't. So we'll just leave it at that. So now let's talk. Now Bryce, you know, we left off episode 8 with Bryce saying he really wants to talk to Kata. And I think all of this is completely insane. I'm so confused about it because and then his personality, like something's going on with him and I can't figure out what it is, but I just feel like something's wrong. And I even did a little special feature on you, Bryce, about your DJ and your producing, because you're really good outside of modeling, and he's also a really great model. So, but his personality doesn't really come through. So this thing about wanting to talk to Kata about her being his only other number 2, and that he really thinks he should give it a chance, and even the conversation that him and Trinity had the day before, I'm starting to think a couple of things. When him and Trinity were going back and forth about, well, I know I'm not really your type, like you're used to people with tattoos and this, and then she's like, and I know I'm not really your type. It just hit me, and it's the same thing. It happened last season. Does Bryce date black women? I know that Trinity's from a small town, but did she date white guys before? And is that what's going on here? Like, is it because they keep questioning, is it that, and I'm going to ask you guys, I want my subscribers, I want you guys to think about this. Is it that they're kind of, you know, they say like beating around the bush, that they've both never talked about the elephant in the room, and that they are both like he's white and she's black, and they've never dated outside their race before? And have they just maybe not had that conversation? They've just come together, and instead of having that direct conversation, they're talking in euphemisms. I just want you all to think about that, because it's something I never really thought of before. And then his thing about wanting to talk to Kata, I can see that the producers, you know, might have probably pushed him to do this, because that's what they do, right? But how I've always thought that Zach likes Trinity. I've always thought so. And I find him to be so bump on a log with Kata. Like, I find Kata does all the work. This is my observation, just me. So what if, this is another thing I'm throwing out, y'all. I'm throwing out some wild ideas today. But what if the reason that Bryce tells Zach that he wants to talk to Kata is because he notices that Zach might like his girl, might like Trinity. And the reason this came to me, this had nothing to do with my write up. I just was thinking about how bizarre it is that he wants to talk to Kata all of a sudden. And I'm like, okay, I can see the producers doing that. But then I thought, if he's doing that on purpose, I'm throwing this out. This is wild, okay? What if he's doing this on purpose because he thinks that Zach likes Trinity and he has such a chilled out personality and they're close friends that this is his get back? So this is something I want y'all to think about too, because I don't know, like I started to think about that because I never even noticed that, like, Zach talking about saying that Bryce doesn't really like Trinity. Like, Zach is saying these things. And is it because he likes her? I thought he liked her from way back. I said it way back. I don't know, episode 1 or 2. So I'm just putting that out there. Okay, now back to my notes. So Zach tells Casey that Bryce wanted to talk to Kata, and Casey is like, what? Almost like, what's in the air today? Like, what's going on in the villa? And I was here at home, I say watching this madness, but now that I kind of have this other idea that I will just see how the next episode goes, because I'm just like, this show is absolutely crazy. And then Zach says he doesn't think that Trinity likes Bryce. So this is why I'm coming to this thing of, I think Zach likes Trinity. He did say he likes darker skin tones. And he's with Zeta, you know, she's gorgeous, and she definitely, you know, coming in as a bombshell, she definitely chose him over Bryce. So that's the thing. Is it that competition factor still from the beginning when Bryce rolled over, is like, I might as well try to get in there? Very bizarre. Does it come from that where Bryce is like thinking, oh, maybe there is something, so I'm just gonna see if there's something, because she was my number 2 and I don't want to leave here without at least trying? Or is the subtext of that, you know, he's been with Trinity because there are no other choices for him, but he didn't seem excited about the new girls either, you know? So his personality is getting, like I said, very, I don't know what's going on with him. Something's going on with Bryce. That's me. There's something about Bryce. Anyway, so now Bryce is awkwardly talking to Kata, and he says he wants to test to see if there's anything there. And she's basically like, boy, you're my friend. End of. And then Bryce is in the confessional. And it's like he was really upset that she wasn't interested in him. And I just have in my notes, Bryce, are you okay? I just want to know if Bryce is okay. Meanwhile, Corbin is crying about wanting to kiss Melanie and Kenzie. And it's like, why does he go on like that's his only MO, right? But I'm going to be honest with y'all and let y'all know that Corbin's starting to grow on me, okay? He really is. And then I have, and Trinity, and then when Trinity is talking, you know, in the you know, when the girls are all getting dressed and stuff, and she's like talking about Bryce and his indecisiveness, and she's like, boy, you're almost 30, like, get over it, grow up. Like, she's so turned off. And Zach talks to Kata about Bryce and Melanie, and he's going on about Sincere kissing Soul 4 times. So Zach, why are you going on about sincere? And I know this is all editing, so I always try to think of why they're building these narratives of Zach. Like, that's the way reality TV works, unscripted TV, right? There's each person has to fit into a genre. So even though it's not a written out script where there's like a protagonist and an antagonist, but that is the same thing that they do with reality TV. Do you guys remember the show Unreal? It was so good. It was like a exaggerated version of reality TV, but it was so real. It was a really good series back in the day. Anyway, so then later on in bed, Bryce apologizes to Trinity, Meanwhile, Kenzie and Corbin, of course, they make out at night. That's what I have, because that's what they do at night. And as always, Zach looks like a zombie while Kata is kissing him. Casey and Anaya, they've been loved up, and the producers don't really show us much of their love story at all. We know that they're getting along, they hold hands, but they show it still in a bit of a negative light of Anaya being upset about what Casey's doing and him making up to her, and then it does look like Casey holds the cards. So who knows? So then it's breakfast time, and Sincere thinks it would be a good idea to make breakfast for Melanie and Saul. He obviously watched the show with Leo, and who he is reminding me of Leo in season 5. And all I have here is Lord have mercy. And I could never be on this show. So here's another question. Subs, chat, peeps, could y'all be on the show? I could never. Oh, no. And I definitely was more jealous when I was younger. Oh, no. I would have been kicked off the first episode. Wouldn't even have worked. Okay, so then they get a text and everybody's excited that Sierra and Teffy, I hope I say her name, are there. And you know what? I didn't know who they were. I did a piece on them, and I've learned who Sierra is because she was on the show Summer House, which I don't watch. And Teffy's like, an online personality. But when the two women came out, I was like, who are they? But I love their fits. But there was Sierra and Teffy. Everybody was excited, especially Kata. Kata was really, really excited. And it's funny. I think that's the first time I noticed she has that raspy kind of voice. Anyway, they talk about the game that they're going to play, Sweetest Pie. And from the time Anaya, to me, looked anxious when she heard the word pie, because you know what pie means for Black women. That pie stuff, whatever, has to go in your hair and all of it. It just cannot be fun. So this game is girls versus boys, and it's called Sweetest Pie. And the questions, they can be sweet or messy. So they ask sweet questions and they ask messy questions, okay? And long story short, Saul gets the most pies in the face. So according to the episode we watched, it looked like she just got 2. One of them was really hard, and the second one, it's so funny how people see different things. Zach put his hand behind her neck and put the pie in her face, and that was when she broke down. Now I'm thinking he put his hand behind her neck to guide her from her head being thrown back. And that's why he did it. And that's why he did it. To me, he was doing it soft, and other people saw that as aggressive. It's so funny how we can all watch one thing and come up with completely different ways of seeing it. And she really broke down there. But hello, y'all, these games that they play, these things go on for hours. They're in the hot sun. And I'm going to guess that Saul had probably 6 to 8 pies thrown in her face. Okay? And that's why she was like that. And that's why she was emotional. I don't know if I call it bullying. I find like the terminology that we use sometimes is, I don't see it as bullying. I just don't. And I remember in the, was it in the Love Island games or the one with Anaya and these pies? Not Anaya, Imani. um, the pie games always cause a lot of problems. And I'm just going to let y'all know there's no way that she was only pied twice. I'm going to guess 6 to 8 times. And that's why she had a complete breakdown. And I thought it was great that Casey did, talk to her a bit. And I'm sure that they have a friendship behind the scenes, that they've talked and everything. So that he has explored, but decided he's going to be with Naya. That's what I think has gone on behind the scenes, but we'll never know. So the only other really interesting thing about that game was when Beatriz, when what they were talking about, the person's personality, and Gabe, because I also have the people were also using this game as a reason to kiss the person that they were with, right? And because that seemed to be the theme of what they were doing, but Beatriz pied Caleb, the cowboy, for that response because she said that's what the girls voted for. And it didn't fit Gabriel's description. And he was really, really upset about that. So that just stood out to me that he was, yeah, like he seemed really hurt. Okay, so now I have another note. Yeah, Corbin is growing on me. I have not Caleb happy when he hears that America has the vote. So I'm skipping ahead to when they're going to find out that there was a vote of who the bombshells would be paired up with. And Caleb, he's just seems so happy, the cowboy. I had to stop for a minute to remember who Caleb was. Cowboy. Yeah, because he was like, oh yeah, I got this one on lock. They gonna vote for me to be with Kanzi. That was his inner dialogue. So he's just happy. For me watching it, I'm like, the fans are never consistent with how they feel, which is why I've stayed out of the comments and pages, because I'm gonna tell you, when I look at the comments, if I go on the page to look at the first look, or I go somewhere, and I'm talking more of the comments on Instagram, and I've stayed completely off of Reddit, the things that people are saying and the way they're like, we're going to get rid of so-and-so right now. We're going to get rid of KC now. We're going to get rid of Beatrice now. It's like there's this whole entitlement with the audience. So I am so glad that they scrubbed the people's pages. These were suggestions I had, that they limited the comments. And you know what? Okay, I'll stop now. I'm glad they did that. I think that was really, really smart. I would love it if they couldn't even reveal the cast until the show started and they just showed them in shadows. But the way the fans are like, show us the cast now. I was like, wow, it's a lot. Anyways, so yeah, Caleb's pretty excited because he's pretty sure that that's who the audience will vote for. And I guess I heard that today, that the voting crashed, so that they couldn't even do this vote when they were supposed to, because the machine crashed down, and then I guess it had to go back up. I can't vote. I'm in Canada. At least I don't think we can. So whenever voting happens, that's why when I say like, oh, America votes, because I have no say in it. I don't know how it works. I've always heard like janky things about about the voting. So, but here's how it goes. So yes, the audience, the viewers did vote that Caleb be paired with Kenzie. They voted that Jen be paired with Gabrielle. And they voted that Saul be paired with Sincere. So this leaves each of their partners vulnerable, right? So the people that are left once they do this are Beatrice and Corbin and Melanie. But Corbin gets to choose who he wants to partner up with. So I already know he's going to choose Melanie. He's not going to choose Beatrice, and that's what happens. So Beatrice gets dumped, and she's pretty tough about it. She's a tough cookie. A lot of people don't like her, and I really like her. So what does that say about me? I can understand her, her toughness and everything, and I feel like when you have something wrong, people like compensate or overcompensate in different ways. You know what I mean? So I can see like she's in a situation with like she's close to her brothers, her father. She's in track and field. She's in the Paralympics and like she's really good. And so she's probably just had to really learn to be tough all of her life. So when she's packing up to go, she does stop and talk to Gabriel, and he's upset and talking about how they're talking in he's Brazilian, so he speaks Portuguese. She's Mexican. She speaks, but I think he speaks different languages too. So that I feel like they're speaking in Spanish, and he's just talking about how she helped him to open up and everything, and he's crying a bit. And yeah, I shed a tear too, because see, this show, there's so many things wrong with what they do, because and I know it has. I never thought about Gabrielle and editing at all. I'm just gonna let you know until I watch After Sun. But because the way that they've put him on is the Brazilian lover who does not speak English well, and he just says, "I want to kiss you." That is his character on the show. Okay? I have all this notes. I'd really just cut to the end of this, but what else I have here? Yeah, anyway, that's what happened. I had a lot more notes about them picking and choosing, but that's it. High level overview, cut to the chase. Okay? So I'm going to cut to I watched After Sun, and so I loved After Sun. I watched it all the time. The last couple of seasons, I do miss Sally, but I know she's definitely too lollipop for this version. I like that it's more gritty. I really like. I don't know Sarah at all, so I feel like I was expecting something. I feel like I was expecting her personality to be like Anaya, but I don't know who she is, right? So and I like that it's gritty and they're so real. I really like it. I like it. It had some substance. And I also like the interview style too, so we get to know a bit more. But here are some things I want to address. Gabrielle, Sean, and Beatrice, I can't remember who said it, but he's apparently super smart. Is it science or computer science that he's studying? Speaks 3 languages. Also is like very empathetic. Sean's like that he had great conversations with him. And this is the thing about the editing of the show. Now, because I don't come from Latin culture, I'm very aware of what they do with people of African descent, Black people. I'm aware of what they do with us on the show, but I never thought of the stereotypes of the Latin community, right? The Latin lover, and that is basically who they have cast him as, right? Corbin, the dumb jock, I'm not saying Corbin's dumb, but I'm just the way that they have, that's how it is. Like the two of them, they have them cast as people that don't say much more than give me a kiss. But when Corbin was talking to, was it Kenzie and Melanie, just about like, I've heard him talk about things about his life, his family, um, going to school. He graduated early. So there are things about him that are very positive, but we are of course not going to see it at all. Um, so, and that's pretty much what I learned from After Sun. It was really, really good though. It was, for me, it was good to learn about Gabriel and hear that there's more to him than give me a kiss. Um, and to hear about Bryce's fashion sense. So that's it for me for episode 9 and a little bit of After Sun. But I'm looking forward, for me, I'm really looking forward to looking at Bryce and Trinity to see what happens with them, to see if that's what it is. Like, if it's that they're just skirting around the subject, that they're in an interracial relationship and they don't know how to deal with or talk about it because they never have been before. And that did happen with Alandria and Nick, where Alandria asked Shelly, like, but how do we look? How does it look? Right? And sometimes as a viewing audience watching the show, we're not, it's not that I'm even used to seeing interracial relationships so much on this show, but I feel like I watch reality TV as such an escape from the real world that I also think sometimes I negate what is actually really happening right now, right? The anti-black sentiment that is happening everywhere, how that might feel for somebody who's never dated outside their race before. So it's just something that I'm thinking about now. I'm going to be looking at Bryce and Trinity a bit more. I'm going to look at Anaya and KC a bit more. I mean, we don't really see a lot of them, but when Casa Amor comes, that's going to be the thing of the things, right? That's going to be the thing right there. So I don't know. Oh yes, I looked up the end date, and the end date was, I feel like it was like July 13th or something. And also in between this, the NBA draft is happening, which I'm glad is happening because I'm going to be getting surgery, y'all. So I'm trying to figure out, since I do these off camera, that makes it a lot easier. But I will at some point within the next, in the next couple of weeks, I will be in the hospital. So, but hopefully they have Wi-Fi and I can still watch Love Island USA because, as I said, that will be my escape. All right. So have a blessed day, everyone. Please don't forget to like and subscribe because, like I always say, this is Amani's vibe and this is a vibe. So please don't forget to like and subscribe. And that's what's up. Oh, and by the way, do you like my theme music that I put together? I actually just sit here and I sing it. Amani's vibe. Ah, yeah. Ah, yeah. I actually love my theme music. So you can drop me a note if you do like my little theme songs too. I just like making a bunch of different themes for when I post something. And so it might have like the Afrocentric, Caribbean sound, just little things I put together just to add some life to my channel as I continue to figure out and really come up with what my format is. So yeah, so that's it. Thank you, everyone. Sending blessings and lots of love out there. Keep positive, especially in the hard times, because we all know that these can be some hard times. And that's what's up.
Ooh, Amani's vibe. Welcome to Amani's vibe. That's the space that I provide. Ooh. just positive vibes. Love Island, USA, pop culture, sports, and telling stories in my own way.